Hi YouTube, what is up? My name is Maliha, and in this tutorial I'll be taking you step by step on how you can create this gorgeous looking WIX Studio website that works perfectly as a portfolio site for coaches or for any type of service-based business really. It looks equally nice on desktop, tablet and mobile devices. It can be created using the free version of WIX Studio, and no, you do not need to write any sort of code for this. Everything here on this website is going to be fully customizable, so you can add in your own colors, your own images, etc. All that you are going to need for this is a computer, Wi-Fi, some determination, and this tutorial that you are watching right now. And so if you are ready to get yourself a banger website in a short amount of time, then stick with me till the end. Without any more talking, let's just get right into the video. Oh, by the way, before I start, if you would like to save time and energy, then you can get this website as a pre-made template. If you do decide to get it, then a fresh WIX website is going to be transferred to you, after which you can easily replace all of your content by yourself within literally a few minutes. And with this option, you also get additional sections and pages. The link is going to be in the description box down below in case you're interested. Otherwise, you should be able to follow this tutorial and come up with a phenomenal website yourself if you do have time and you are willing to figure things out along the way. Okay, let's start. Okay, so the very first step is to type in wix.com/studio in your address bar and then click on login. And then from here, you are simply going to log in if you have an account or sign up to create a new one. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to be signing up with Google. And you're going to select the middle option here, design a site. And from here, you are going to click edit on blank canvas. And by the way, if you do have an account, you're going to click on sites at the left hand side of your dashboard and then create new site at the top right, and then click on start from blank canvas. And this is what we have, and I'm going to start setting up my site styles here, things like my colors and my fonts and typography. And so I have sped this part up, but feel free to pause and copy my exact same color codes for yourself as well. So for the fonts, you are going to go to Google Fonts, and once you're here, you are going to type in Laura, and then you are going to click on Get Font, and then you are going to search for Elora, Get Font, and then you are going to click on Download All, and then inside of your downloaded folders, you're going to extract this downloaded folder, come back to your site, and then upload your custom fonts this way. For Laura, we are going to be uploading Laura Medium Italic as well as Laura Regular, and then we are also going to be uploading Elora. Once these are uploaded, you can simply go ahead and update these. And next, I'm going to be setting up the site styles, which I'm just going to be setting up the typography, which are basically just the heading sizes and heading properties. So feel free to pause and follow along. Important thing to remember here is make sure that the spacing unit is in EM. Next, under maxed width, make sure that this toggle is on, and then for page transition, make sure that none is selected. Let's move on to designing the header. So I'm just going to get rid of everything present on the header by hitting the backspace or the delete key on my keyboard, and then I'm going to add an image element here for my logo. I'm just going to click on change image, and I'm going to upload my logo from my computer. And you can upload your own logo here. I'm going to resize it this way, and I'm also going to be aligning it in the middle this way. Next, I'm going to go to menu and search and drag in a hamburger menu item here, and then you can click on edit menu here, and this is going to open up the drawer menu, and I'm going to actually change the background color to this light green. And you can see here that this is blue currently. I don't want it to be blue, so I'm going to select the state to selected and then change its color to green. Selected state basically means that a menu item is selected. For instance, home is in the selected state right now because we are currently on the home page, right? And then the hover state is how an element appears when somebody places the cursor on it. I'm also going to adjust the this icon. So in the hover state, I want it turn green. And feel free to go ahead and click on manage menu and then add items and basically build your menu from here. Next, I'm going to change the color of this header to this light green color as well, and I'm going to add in a button here, this rounded button. Seems like a good fit. And using the right panel, I'm going to start editing its styles, such as the background color, the border, etc, etc. Next, I can actually go ahead and play with the width and height of the button. Next, I can click on settings and rewrite what the button text says. And you can obviously link this to whatever you want to link it to. And I'm going to add some padding here. Now make sure that your padding unit is in percentage, and I'm going to give a top and bottom padding of 0.5% and a left and right padding of 5%. And then to make everything responsive, make sure the logo is set to scale proportionally, button is set to fixed, and then hamburger element is set to fixed as well. Now when we go to tablet, we can see that everything looks good except the logo maybe looks a bit too small, so I'm just going to enlarge it. And I'm going to slightly change the positioning of elements. And next I can go to the mobile breakpoint, and from here we can see that things need to be adjusted. So I'm going to adjust the padding first of all. The left and right padding is basically going to remain the same, but top and bottom I'm going to change it to 2%. I'm also going to be adjusting the text size of this button as well as the width and height of this button. And I'm going to resize this logo to make it visible. And I also made this hamburger icon a little smaller in width and height, and we can see that everything is nicely responsive now, even on the smallest of screen sizes. Next, we are going to start with the first section of our site. You're going to click on grid layout, and you're going to click on this 2-column layout. And from the right panel, you can actually change the percentage of the columns, how much space each column occupies. So I'm going to do 3466, and I'm also going to increase the height here. I'm going to click on add media to the left column, and I'm actually going to upload a picture of the woods. You can also use the WIX media library by typing in relevant keywords here. Click on add to page, and I'm going to decrease the image opacity to only about 36%. Next, in the right column, I'm going to add some text. I'm going to add a heading 3, and I'm also going to be adding in a heading 1. I will also be adding a paragraph 1, and we don't have to worry about editing any of these elements because we already have the site style set up in the start, right? Next, I'm actually going to hold down the shift key on my keyboard, and while holding it down, I'm going to select all of these elements and click on stack. Basically, a stack inside of WIX Studio is a group. Big advantage of this is you are then able to precisely control the gaps between different text boxes. So I love using the stack option. Next, I'm actually going to add in padding in percentage again to this stack that we just created, so that it looks responsive and nice on all screen sizes. Next, I am going to add in an image element here. and I'm going to adjust its height and width. Next, I'm going to be rounding off its corners by a lot, by 150 pixels on all sides. And then I am going to be changing the image and uploading media from my computer. And I'm going to be changing the responsive behavior of each text elements to wrap so that they are responsive on all screen sizes. And then for button, make sure fix is selected, and then for image, make sure that scale proportionally is selected. Now we are going to go to tablet and see how everything looks. Everything looks good except for the image. So I'm just going to select the image and then middle align it just like that. And you can see the text for the button is too small, so I'm going to increase its font size. And now it looks much better. And now for mobile, you can see we need to make some adjustments. So I'm going to change the layout from columns to rows actually. And I'm going to start decreasing the font size of each of the headings one by one. I'm going to increase the text size of the button. And next, make sure that section grid is selected and come to rows in the right panel, and you can adjust the sizes of row 1 and row 2. I'm going to make row 2 a bit like less in height because we don't need that much height. And just like that, we are all done with this section. As you can see now, everything is perfectly responsive now on all screen sizes. Okay, let's move on to creating the second section. You're going to click on add section, click on grid layout again, and then again select the 2-column layout. And then this time I'm going to be using 4852 column sizes. And I'm going to be adding in our usual padding. I'm going to be adding in a heading 2 widget in the left column, and another heading 2 widget in the same column, as well as a paragraph widget. And I'm going to be styling the first heading 2 widget and then rewriting the second heading 2 widget. And in the same cell, I'm going to add in a heading 3 and call it mission and vision. Change the color to green. And while holding the shift or option key on my keyboard, I am going to drag the paragraph widget, and it will automatically create a copy for us. And this time I'm going to change the formatting to bullet point formatting using the right panel. And I can copy the button from the first section and then Control V here to paste it. Exact same button here, change the text, and I'm also going to be adjusting its width like this. And next, I'm going to hold down the shift key to select all of these elements, create a stack of them, and then adjust the spacing accordingly. Next, I'm going to throw in an image widget in here, adjust the height and the width. I'm going to change the image. I'm going to unlink it and then only round the top left and the top right corners of this image. And I'm going to align it in the middle of this column. And make sure all of these text boxes are set to wrap under responsive behavior. Button should be set to fixed. As always, the image should be set to scale proportionally. And inside of tablet mode, we can change this layout to rows instead of columns. And I will make a few adjustments here. And I will also decrease the size of row 2. And in mobile mode, I'm going to adjust the padding, and I'm also going to be adjusting the text sizes here. And now we can see that this section looks beautiful on all screen sizes. Okay, let's move on. You're going to click on add section again, and for this section you are going to give it a height of only 150 pixels. We are going to put in a padding of 5% left and right, and then only 2% for top and bottom. We are going to go to text and add in a heading 3 widget here. Make sure it is center aligned. Keep pressing the Alt or Option key to make copies of it, and you can change the background color to this dark green color. and the color of these heading widgets to this light green color. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite all three of these heading elements, and then I'm going to stack them. And I'm going to go to the right panel and then add in an item spacing so that all three of these elements are spaced evenly. Set the responsive behavior of each text element to wrap. And for tablet, I'm going to actually change the stack from a horizontal stack to vertical stack, and I'm going to adjust the item spacing, and I'm going to make sure that everything is nicely aligned in the center. And I'm going to adjust the padding for the mobile device as well as the item spacing, and also the font sizes of the heading widgets. And we are going to get started with our next section right away. So for this section, we are going to be adding in a collage widget. We are going to be adding in our usual padding of 8 and 5. Now on the top cell, I'm going to add in a heading 2 widget. Make sure it's center aligned, make a copy of the heading 2 widget, and then I'm going to stylize everything and rewrite it. And then I'm gonna actually stack these two text boxes. Set the spacing to 0, center align them. And I'm actually going to set the bottom padding to 2.5%, just like this. And I'm going to split the right column vertically. And I can go ahead and using the right panel, I can give specific percentages to each of the columns so that all three of the columns take up equal space. And I'm also going to be adding in spacing between the rows of 24. I'm going to add in an image as well as some text widgets. I'm going to adjust some of the styling properties of the image this way. I'm also going to round this image just from one side, and then I'm actually going to stack this image and this text. Next, I'm going to Control C it and then Control V it in the second column. I'm going to remove the roundness, change the image as well as rewrite the text. I'm going to Control V in this cell too, and this time I'm going to add in a 200 pixels roundness to the right hand side, top right. And then one by one for the text boxes, I'm going to change the responsive behavior to wrap, and then make sure that all of the images are set to scale proportionally. And on tablet, we can see that everything looks good, but I will adjust a few things. For mobile, I'm going to change the layout from collage to rows. Next, I'm going to right click and click on duplicate, and this is going to duplicate this entire section for us. And I'm going to click on this on the topmost cell, just get rid of the cell entirely because we don't need it. And I'm going to start adjusting the padding for this duplicated section. For this image, the roundness is going to be at the bottom left. And I have gone ahead and swapped out the images as well as the text, and we can see that the padding is way too much on tablet here, so I'm just going to go ahead and invert the padding. And for mobile, the same needs to be done. And now everything looks pretty good. Now we can get started with our next section. I also gave this stack a padding. Let's add in another section, and again we are going to be going with the collage layout, the same exact padding here as well, the same exact heading widget, so you can just Control C it and then Control V this stack. Split the column as usual and then start adding in your percentages. Just add in these widgets here. Like both of these text boxes and click on stack and then click on place in container. Now you can give it a light green background, adjust the width and the height, place the stack at the very center of this container. I'm going to round off the corners this way, and I'm actually going to stretch out this container. And I'm going to add in another heading widget here and then give it a font of Eleora and then rotate it slightly from the corner. I'll make sure these are set to wrap, and then I'm going to Control C this container, Control V it here, Control V it here as well, and then adjust the gaps this way. Okay, let's move on to the very next section. For this, you are going to go to wireframes and then you're going to click on slideshow, and you are going to be dragging and dropping this particular slideshow. And I'm going to be actually adjusting the height of this particular widget as well. And I'm going to be adding in our usual padding. I'm going to be replacing these images. Change this to heading 3 and then rewrite it. And for the text, I'm actually going to change it to paragraph 1, and instead of Laura regular, I'm going to change it to Laura medium italic. I'm going to also add the customer's name here, since we are planning to use this section as a testimonial section. Next, go to layers, make sure you have the section selected, and you can double click to rewrite this layer for organization. Next, you can click on this arrow icon, click on this arrow icon again, and you can easily go ahead and edit the other reviews too. Let's move on to the next the next section. We are going to be adding a 2-row layout for this particular one. This is going to be the FAQ section. So add in a heading 2 widget, add in a gap of 24 pixels, and I'm going to go to layout tools, accordions, and add in this specific accordion. Going to click on manage items and double click to rewrite the titles. You can also add items, and then using the right panel you can easily go ahead and design this accordion. I'm just going to remove these elements and then one by one just design everything. Then we are going to work on the very next section. Going to change the background color to dark green, and I've actually set the height to only about 100 here. Next, go to text and then click on text marquee and drag and drop this particular marquee here. Next, let's move on to another section. For this, we are again going to be needing a grid layout. Now we are going to be splitting this one horizontally. I think at this point you know how to do this, so I'm just going to be showing you everything on the screen and you can follow along. And for this bottom cell, I'm going to go to contact and forms and then drag this form right here. Going to go ahead and place it like this, and you can click on settings to adjust the design of the form. For the right column, I'm going to add in this image and then adjust the gap. And then I'm going to add in a paragraph 2 as well as a heading 5. I have stacked them and adjusted the spacing. Next, I can add in a background here as well as some padding of 5%. I have rounded the corners by 16 pixels. And I can add in another heading 5 widget here. Next, I'm going to click on place in container. I'm just adjusting the styling of the container this way as well as the text. Next, I'm just setting up the responsive properties of each of these elements. For the container, make sure this is set to scale proportionally, but the text must be set to wrap. Just making some adjustments for tablet. Next, let's move on to mobile and make some adjustments here. Adding in our usual padding of 15 and 3, changing the font sizes. Okay, for this next section, you are going to go to the very first section that we created, right click and then click on duplicate, and then you are going to go to layers from the left panel of your screen and then drag it to the very bottom just above footer. We are going to start making some changes here, so click on flip columns to flip the layout. I'm going to remove the roundness. I'm going to change the background image as well. I have also gone ahead and rewritten all of the text and adjusted the button. I have adjusted the padding as well. Let's move on to designing our footer next. So for this, I'm going to change the background color and add in a 4-column layout. I'm going to add in some padding here this way, and I'm going to be adding in an image here for a logo. Next, a heading 86 widget. Next, I'm going to go to menu and search and add in this particular vertical menu. Again, you can click on manage menu to add in new menu items and build up your menu, but just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to duplicate the same menu item just to show you how everything would look with additional menu items. Also gone ahead and stacked these two elements, and I'm going to be Control C and Control Ving it in the next cell. And for this rightmost cell, I'm going to go to contact and forms and drag and drop this particular newsletter form, and I'm going to be readjusting the column sizes here because as you can see, the right column is way too small to handle the form. And once I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and stretch this form out. Next, click on settings and you can go ahead and design this. Next, I'm going to be adjusting the height of the footer. I'm going to set up the responsive behavior properties and make sure the form is set to stretch and the image to scale proportionally. And for tablet, I'm going to change it from columns to rows. I am making some further adjustments. For this very last strip, I'm going to give this a dark green color, and I'm going to give it a very small height, even smaller than that. And I'm going to go ahead and add in padding in percentage so that it looks good on all screen sizes. Change the text color to a light color. Make sure that this is set to wrap under responsive behavior. This looks good on tablet, looks good on mobile as well. And just like that, we are almost done with our website design. The only thing left now to do is to add in our animations. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So you will go to the second section and you are going to select each of your individual text boxes. Go here and add in an entrance animation. For this one, I'm going to add in a slide animation. And for the image, I'm going to be adding in a fade animation. Now, if you preview it by clicking on this eye icon, you can see that this looks something like this. I think it looks pretty good. Now we will move on to the services section, and for this, you are going to be selecting the stack, not the image, not the text, the stack as a whole, and adding in a entrance animation of slide, and you're going to make sure that it slides from left. The distance is going to be 40%. And the duration is going to be 0.8. Again, you can preview it. Now for this particular stack, the settings are going to be exact same. The only difference is it's going to slide up from the top instead of from left. And for this one, it's going to slide from the right. I'm going to add in the remaining animations in the exact same way. Now when you preview this, you can see that it looks something like this. Pretty cool, right? Moving on to the very next section, I'm going to apply a fade animation on this stack, on all three stacks actually, and on the button I'm going to apply a reveal animation. And for the next section, I'm going to apply a slide animation, slide from the bottom. And for this last CTA section, I'm going to apply a slide animation to the stack as well as to this image in the middle. And now we can go ahead and publish our newly created website. And you can see here how beautiful and interactive it actually looks. And that wraps up this WIX Studio design tutorial. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, please consider hitting the subscribe button and liking. It tells the algo that you actually like my stuff, and it would really help my tiny channel grow. Okay, this is Maliha signing off. Thanks so much for sticking with me through this till the end, and I will see you guys in the next video. Alright, goodbye.